Hello and welcome to the Complete Lakers podcast. I'm Anthony Wilson, recording from Los Angeles, California. Um, so the Lakers are in disarray right now, and I really feel like the loss to Phoenix on Thursday that may have been the loss this season that made most obvious the problems that the Lakers have. Um, I and I've talked a lot about this in different ways. You know, this morning I decided to call it Luka Ball, right? So, Luka Ball is basically, you know how Luka plays. And like I said, I talked about this before. Bill Simmons had another sit down with Max Kellerman um, this week where they talked about a lot of the stuff about with Luka or about Luka that I've been saying on this podcast. Um, Luka Doncic is someone who, like I said, I compared him to like a bigger Allen Iverson, right? You can also compare him to like a Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo was like that too, kind of. Um, but but not, it's different because Carmelo, playing off the ball, and Luka and Iverson. Luka has spent his whole career playing on the ball. Iverson under Larry Brown, when he was playing the two guard position, he was playing off the ball, but he still had the ball, all the time and took all the shots. But yeah, Luka, um, he's the type of guy who you have to build a specific type of team around him. Which you could have one other scorer like Kyrie in Dallas when they made the finals, but for the most part, you need a bunch of guys who are basically like worker bees. Like guys who just run and jump and run the floor and catch lobs and play defense. That's the type of guy that you need around Luka. Um, and the Lakers don't have that type of roster, right? Um, Now, if you watch that Suns game, right? Uh, the thing about it is that you look at the Suns. Now the Suns were without not only Devin Booker, but they were without Dylan Brooks too. Although Jaylen Green was back, but basically it was the Suns B team. With respect to Jaylen Green, but that's pretty much what it was. You it was Calypsy and Grayson Allen and a bunch of other kind of miscellaneous type of players, and they beat the Lakers, right? It's a Lakers team that was fully healthy. They had everybody. They had all the guys. Luka, LeBron, Austin, everybody, right? And Phoenix beat them. And it was basically just Phoenix being more active, having more energy, and the way that they play is a very modern style, and it's almost like it doesn't really matter who you. I mean, they were hot from three. They had 22 threes. It was so. I mean, that's a lot. So basically, they were so hot, and they were just playing the modern style of you know quick ball movement, a bunch of threes. Maybe some slash and kick. Like that. They were. I don't think they were. I mean, they were. I mean, they were good on transition too. So playing up and down. You know, and here go the Lakers, and they're coming down. They're a half court team, but see that's what Luka Doncic does, right? And like I said, I've said this a million times. You know, before the trade last year, if you watch the way that the Lakers were playing, they were playing pretty much the way that Phoenix was playing on Thursday. That's how the Lakers were playing, quick and decisive and moving the ball. Like I said, I would argue that no team in the league, if you think, just go back and look at that trade before right before, so the Knicks game, the same night as the trade. Go back and look at it. That was again the Lakers played without Anthony Davis, and they beat the Knicks at the Garden. And just watch how they were playing, quick, decisive. I said I don't think there's any team in the league that was playing with more intensity, right? But it's basically they were playing the same way that Phoenix played on Thursday, except they had LeBron and Austin Reeves, right? But then you throw a Luka Doncic in there, and Luka Doncic is someone who he plays a slowed down, methodical style of play, right? Now that's worked in the past to the tune of, even like I said, making the NBA Finals. But um, the Lakers don't. The Lakers don't have that type of. The Lakers don't have that type of that type of roster to complement Luka and be able to play that way and have as much success as uh, they could, right? Lakers have two other. I mean, early in the season they started 14-4 without LeBron, right? Um, and then LeBron comes back, and that just changed everything, right? So there are some caveats, but Luka at the end of the day, he is the type of player that you have to build a very specific type of type of team around, right? Um, they come down. They're very methodical. Luka has a very high usage rate, and Max Kellerman was talking about it. Um, like the same thing I've been saying. The energy. The ball has energy. And the more the ball moves, and the more guys are engaged, and the more guys are active, the better the team will be. They'll be better on defense. And right now the Lakers they're just completely lost in every way. You know. And something I've been thinking about is that um, I feel like the Lakers were better last year. You know, without as much depth. If you look at what okay, so since last year, the Lakers they lost Dorian Finney-Smith and replaced him with Jake LaRavia, who's been pretty good for the Lakers. Uh, Brought in Marcus Smart, who's been probably the best role player overall in the Lakers this year. DeAndre Ayton, who started strong, and once again, when LeBron, I mean, you could make the argument that LeBron, uh, despite everything that I'm saying, that basically LeBron is, but see the thing about it is that well, it's kind of it's like I'm basically really good. I mean, it's like because LeBron, I mean, he's it's like okay, you don't need all three of those guys, right? You just need two of them. And Luka and Austin, like I said, they started 14-4 without LeBron, right? But then when it was just uh, Luka and LeBron, that didn't really work. But then at the same time, I don't know if I'm really seeing too much of Austin and LeBron this year, but I do know that Austin and LeBron, like I said last year, how they were playing before the trade with AD out. They do play well together, but they've been playing together for a while. Um, but yeah, so I think it's for sure. One thing I can say for sure is that Austin is not the problem, right? Like Max Kellerman was saying, Austin is the one guy on the Lakers who plays the game the right way, right? Um, Between Luka and LeBron being older, and them both, playing the same style, basically LeBron fathered Luka's style, right? Um, and it just doesn't work, I know Kellerman was saying that he's saying that Rich Paul he likes the idea of LeBron as the role man, right? Which is kind of like last year, they it was just working better, and I think I don't know, but I for sure feel like going into like we felt everybody felt better about the Lakers going into the playoffs last year than anybody feels about them right now. You know, so yeah, I think they were better last year, even without as much. They don't, they don't, they didn't have as much. If you think about last year, uh, it was Luka, Austin, Bron, Ruri, uh, Jackson Hayes, who by the end of the Timberwolves series wasn't even playing anymore. Gabe Vincent. That was pretty much it. Now you look, and it's Luka, Austin, Bron, Roy, Jake LaRavia, Aiden, Jackson Hayes, Jarrett Vanderbilt, Luke Kennard, who came over in a trade. They got like a solid 8, and it's just not working. You know, and yeah, but I mean, it's possible that this could all be solved by just subtracting LeBron. You know, but again, I think Luka, his style of play, mixed with the fact that they don't have the type of roster to complement his style. Um, I feel like it's just it's not it's not working, and that darn that clutch record of theirs, which they started 13-0 in clutch games. Now I think they're 3-5 since then. But that was fugazi to begin with because they were playing like the Jazz and have to come down to the wire. Or playing against some team that OKC would beat them by 20, the Spurs would beat them by 20. Here go the Lakers coming down to the wire and have to beat somebody. You have to beat Dallas. Somebody it seems like that. You know, so that was all hogwash to begin with. Kellerman was saying that he went to the Celtics game where they talked about the game where they unveiled the Pat Riley statue, and he was saying that it was clear, being in attendance and watching the game, that Jaylen Brown was was a better player than Luka, and he was using the same logic, that I use. Not to say, I obviously wouldn't say that Austin is a better player, of course, than Luka, but basically that Jalen Green, like Austin, he's not as, neither one of them is as gifted as Luka. But when you're not as gifted, basically his argument was that Jalen Brown has to be like kind of more efficient and make better decisions and do things the right way, because he doesn't have the same type of high offensive ceiling that Luka does. Luka has the highest offensive ceiling in the league. My argument with Austin was somewhat similar, which is that because Austin isn't as gifted, he has to just work a lot harder. But because he works so hard out there, that rubs off on the team in a good way. Whereas Luka, because Luka can get to any spot he wants and score so easily, that rubs off on the team in a bad way, right? Would the Lakers be better if they had Jaylen Brown instead of Luka? That's a great. It's like maybe I think they'd be at least as, I don't know. It's tough to say because the Celtics have the type of roster that would work better around Luka because they got Peyton Pritchard would be like the Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie. They got Derek White. He's only shooting like 39%, but he does Derek White things. And everybody else is pretty much just like a hard-working guy, So, yeah, I don't know. If you put Jalen on this team, it's hard to say, But, and then the DeAndre Ayton issue, he came out and said, they want to be be Clint Capella, but I'm not Clint Capella. I know Trevor Lane said, well, if you don't want to be Clint Capella, don't apply for a Clint Capella job. But once again, I mean that's an issue of having to have a specific type of center playing with Luka. Although at the same time, early in the season it was working no problem. So I don't know, bro. it's complicated. It's not. It's impossible to place the blame on any one person or one thing. Although I think if LeBron, which seems likely that he won't be back next year, just subtracting him would seem to help the situation. Just from a pure basketball standpoint. You know. Now, if you look at the schedule coming up, man, this March schedule is going to be the toughest month the Lakers have had to face schedule wise, right? Because they get the Nuggets twice, they get the Rockets twice, they get the Knicks, the T-Wolves, the Pistons, and the Cavs. So those are all like pretty much all those teams feel like if they didn't win the championship, their season was a failure, right? Then they also have the Magic and the Heat. Both of those games will be in Florida. And they have what should be some gimme games: the Kings, the Pelicans twice, the Wizards, the Nets. So that's four tanking teams, and the Bulls who are also tanking. You know, so yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's like okay. So I know the Nuggets and the Rockets they have some problems too. Uh, The Nuggets just, I don't know. Ever since Joker came back, they haven't been. He threw out their chemistry. And then the Rockets, whatever chemistry problems they might have because of the Durant burner tweets, and then or supposedly or whatever, allegedly burner tweets, and then also, of course, their problems at guard. Although Reed Shepard has been okay, but they don't really have a true point guard. I want to say something because I saw people like talking down on Amin Thompson, but the thing you have to understand about Amin Thompson is he's playing out of position, right? The real point guard, Fred VanVleet, he got hurt. He was out for the year. They said, okay, well, we'll just let him in, play the point, basically. I saw somebody say, well, Ben Simmons was better than Amin Thompson. He did everything. It's like Amin Thompson is playing out of position. Amin Thompson's not a point guard. Amin Thompson is a forward, you know. Um, and you taking him and giving him the ball, and he's doing really should give him credit. You should commend him for the job that he's done when that's not really his game. So for people to try to knock him for playing out of position and not playing point guard as well as Ben Simmons at his best or somebody like that, to me that's preposterous because he's not. That's not even. He's supposed to be doing Amin Thompson things. Sort of like a super version of young Kawhi. When Kawhi was with like 2013, 2014 Spurs. That Kawhi. That's what Amin Thompson is supposed to be doing. And it's good that he's a good playmaker and stuff like that. But he should be more of a secondary playmaker and not a point guard. So yeah, Rockets twice. So maybe let's say we split with the Nuggets and the Rockets. Next game that'll be here. They already beat us once. I wouldn't say I like the Lakers' chances. I mean, on paper, yeah, 6'6" Luka should be better than 6'2" Brunson. They just beat us. T-Wolves, the T-Wolves hate the Lakers. Kicked their ass last year. The Pistons are probably the best team out of this bunch. Not necessarily on paper, but they just, night to night, And then there's the Cavs, who already whipped us. So there's really no reason the way the Lakers play. If the Lakers can't be, you got to look at it. Celtics with Jaylen Brown and basically a bunch of scrubs. The Magic, who are always underachievers, and then Phoenix's B team. And the Lakers couldn't win any of those games. Geez Louise, But yeah, we just have to. You have to see what happens. Right now it's looking like the Lakers will be a team that hopefully they can stay above Phoenix and stay out of the play-in. But right now they're still the sixth seed, and right now so at 4-24, 2 games back of Minnesota for the fifth seed, and a game ahead of Phoenix for the seventh seed. The season right now, the Lakers will play Houston in the first round, which I'm sure they'd probably. I think I don't know because I think back to last year when we played Denver in Denver and kicked their ass, and Luka was still kind of new to the Lakers. Um, I look back and I think, okay, well, the times have changed, right? Like, uh, and I don't think the one time we played Denver this year was without Joker, and we still had to come back and beat them. Um, but so yeah, I don't look at Denver as the same type of scary matchup that they used to be, you know. Um, but and then Houston, I think Houston would probably actually be a tougher matchup than Denver, even though they don't have a real guard because they're just more fleet of foot. Like they got a bunch of guys. So I wish the Lakers had that. Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Amin Thompson, and they got some tough dudes who can get up and down. That's the Lakers' weakness is they got a bunch of soft guys who aren't athletic. So but I don't know. I don't know mentally if the Lakers still fear Denver, even though it's a different team the Lakers have now. Um, Houston, yeah, I don't know. But for sure, they don't want to see San Antonio. They don't want to see OKC. They probably still don't want to see Minnesota. But obviously, they don't want to see San Antonio or OKC. So for sure, need to make sure they stay out of the play-in. Um, I want to give another shout out to Conker Nipple, who I think no question. When I did my mid-season awards, I had him as the co-rookie of the year with Cooper Flag. I'm not sure. I mean, it seems like the Mavericks have pretty much shut Cooper Flag down. They're just trying to get as many ping pong balls as they can get. So looking like Flag might probably wouldn't even play enough games to qualify, and then it would go to Conker Nipple without question, which just completely changed the culture there in Charlotte. One thing I'll say though also, before I forget, is that Luka, man, it just goes to show how much more scrutiny you're under playing for the Lakers compared to playing for any other franchise. Because, geez, I mean, other than the time that Windhurst kind of ripped Luka to shreds during the finals, or maybe right after the finals ended against the Celtics in 2024, outside of that, you never heard this much complaining about and critiquing of Luka Doncic. And I'm to blame guilty myself. But it's just because when he was playing for Dallas, I didn't watch him that much. I just knew he was a great player. But with the Lakers, you really can't even call it nitpicking. It's just kind of, I mean, on the one hand you can because he's so productive. It's like how could you argue against such production? But on the other hand, it's like it's easy to see what his faults are. So yeah, I don't really know what it's gonna be. You know, um, how it's gonna uh, how it's gonna end up. But I do know that it just goes to show how much more spotlight there is in LA. Even if he played for the Knicks, he wouldn't be under this type of scrutiny. But man, the way they talk about Luka now, they never used to talk about him like this when he was in Dallas. You know, um, that's why the reaction was how it was when he got traded. 'Cause he was like he was pretty much like I always would say, a darling, a darling of the NBA. You know, now it's like, now this sounds stupid because I talk about him all the time for his flaws. But yeah, even though I'm just saying like the national, scrutiny is much harsher now that he's playing for the Lakers. You know, um, I just wanted to say one more thing about the NFL draft. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winning, national championship winning quarterback out of Indiana, is expected to be the first pick taken by the Oakland Raiders. And I just wanted to share this. I don't think I've said it on the podcast yet, but what I believe the Raiders should do, in addition to drafting Fernando Mendoza, is I think that the Raiders should target AJ Brown. Um, I'm of the belief that the easiest way to make things easier for a rookie quarterback is just to give him a receiver that he can spam, right? Um, and I feel like now, see, of course, Sam Darnold's been around the block, and he's been down, and now he's up high as he could possibly be, right? So, but basically, Sam Darnold came in with the Jets. They weren't any good. He didn't really have anybody to throw the ball to, right? You look at a situation like the Giants. They have Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is someone who he Jackson Dart is someone who he's more of a running type of. I mean, he's kind of like more like a hybrid type of not the same type of pure passer, let's say, as a Fernando Mendoza, right? And then you look at somebody like J.J. McCarthy at the Vikings, was more of a running quarterback. So he's still learning how to throw the ball. So basically, having Justin Jefferson was a waste in Minnesota for McCarthy, and having of course Malik Neighbors got hurt towards ACL early in the season for the Giants. But I look at like Sam Darnold basically was starting over when he got to the Vikings, and I think it helped so much just that he had Justin Jefferson to just spam throwing the ball to. Same thing with this past season with the Seahawks with Smith and Jigba. So I look at it and feel like if I were the Raiders, I would target I would target AJ Brown. Obviously, he's had some problems there in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts and not getting the ball and stuff like that. Hasn't really been happy when they won the Super Bowl the year before last season before this past one. And I thought he'd go in there. He's put up big time numbers, 1,500 yards I think before. He'd be able to go in there. Mendoza kind of reminds me of Joe Burrow, just this big quarterback who put up gaudy numbers and went undefeated, won the Heisman in his last year in college. And I think that's the move for the Raiders to make. I just wanted to make sure I want to get that out there, just in case it happens. I can say, well, the Raiders were thinking like great minds think alike, right? Okay, all right. So before I get out of here, just a reminder to hit that subscribe button next to the Complete Podcast Network, and to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at TC Pod Network. You can also send feedback and mailback questions to Complete Lakers Podcast at gmail.com. I am out.